The last time I made a video about the Comica BoomX-U, it was an unboxing. Today we are going to be setting up the Comica BoomX-U. It's a quad recording lavalier set of microphones, meaning there are 4 of them. Now, what I have right now is 2. Now, the reason I'm not setting up the entire 4 is because the setting for one works for the other 3. So the reason I'm bringing 2 out is so you can have an idea of how to set up the microphone itself. So I have the transmitters, I have the receiver, and I have one lavalier mic and a stereo output connector. Yeah, so with this now, we can actually have a setup of the BoomX. Now, setting up the transmitter and the receiver are pretty simple. For the transmitter, all you basically need to do is to put on the power button here. And once you click on the power, you see blue light. If it's red, it means the battery is about to die out. The microphone is on. Now, on top of it, you see the power button and the mute button. Now, with the mute button, you need to click and hold it for a few seconds. Now it turns red. That means you have muted the mic totally. And if you want to unmute, you do the same thing, and then it comes back on. Now, the blue light you're actually seeing that keeps coming on and off is the microphone. So it's basically telling you that audio is going in and out. And that's practically everything about this. Now, another point of note is it has an antenna. Sometimes it's advisable for you to open the antenna so that as you're transmitting the receiver, we'll be able to get the signal clearly. Now, this depends on whatever it is that you are shooting. If you're shooting outside and you have objects, in between, I don't know why you'd want to shoot between an object, but if you have an object in between you and the receiver, you might want to put this up. It has a microphone on top, and it has this very interesting microphone setup. Now, with the lavalier mic that I have here, if you want to connect it, it has a sort of like a hook next to the TRS cable. So once you put that in, it clicks and that's it. Now it can pull off easily. So that's that about the lavalier mic. And it has a clip-on at the back. As you can see, this microphone is pretty heavy. Why would anybody want to put this on their why would you want to do that? With the receiver, it's pretty simple. Once you power it on, it has a set button, it has a power button, and it has an arrow up and down. And this is for moving from one setting to the other. Once you put it on, mine is on already, it displays the 4 microphones. Now, I only have one on. That's why the audio you are seeing is coming from just one. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it appears as A, B, C, D. On top of the receiver, you also see there are LED indicators on top that let you know which of the mic is on. Right now, the one that is on is the A. That is why it's showing A here right now. Setting up the receiver is pretty simple. What you need to do is you click on the set button. Now, when you click on the set button, one of the first things you find is the menu. The first menu here is the channel. If you click on that channel, you click on the same set button again, it shows you 4 channels, A, B, C, and D. Mine has 5, 6, 7, and 8. And to exit, you don't click on the set, you click on the power button. That takes you back again. The next menu is the auto scan. Now, the only time you use the auto scan is if you cannot see the microphones on the receiver. So if you click on the auto scan, mine is set already. I don't want to scatter mine. If you click on the auto scan, it would scan and look for the microphones. The next is the sync. Just as said, you can use this to actually sync the mics if they are out of sync. The next is volume. Now, the intuitive thing about the volume is if you click on the set, likewise, it gives you the volume options for the 4 microphones. So here you can actually decide what the volume will be for the 4. Basically, this is like a controller. It controls what the microphones are doing, and it gives you the option to control the 4 microphones. To go out of this, you click on the power again, and if we scroll down one more time, you have mix. Now, this you really have to pay attention to. The Comica BoomX gives you the capacity to output the sound from the controller here. Now, this is also the receiver, but I like to call it the controller. Right on top, what you see is an A, B, C, and D. And you have a mix A, B, C, D, mix A, B, C, D on both sides. You also have an earphone jack with an infrared on the side. Now, how this works is that with the Comica BoomX, it comes with two XLR to TRS jack. Mine only came with a pair. If you need to output the audio from the entire 4 mics out, you can actually output the audio one after the other, meaning you can have the audio out one by one in case you don't want to merge the entire audio together. So take, for example, say you are interviewing 4 people and one person was speaking louder than the next person and you want to mix each interviewer separately. The BoomX gives you the capacity to actually output each audio separately so you can treat them separately. Now, at the back here, you have this A, you have the A, B, C, D. With the XLR to TRS jack, what you basically do is you connect it into the A, B, or the C and D. I mean, depending on what it is that you're doing. Mine right now, I have just 2 mics, which is the A and B. Now, you can now connect the XLR cables into your recorder. Now, mine has left and right. Now, next to me is the Zoom Multitrack 4. So basically what I would do is I will connect the left, which will be the A, the right, which will be the B, and once I power the Zoom Multitrack, I can actually see that audio. We'll get to that in a minute. So basically that's what the mix option is about. Now, with the mix option, you have the option of none or all. Now, when the option you pick is all, what the BoomX is going to do, it's going to combine the audio from the entire 4 microphones into one stereo signal. As a rule of law, I would say do not do that, especially if you intend, maybe you interview a lot of people and one person was louder than the next person. When you choose the option of mix all, you cannot separate the audio at all. It comes as one stereo file, meaning one person will be louder than the rest. So your best option is to move from mix all to none. When you pick mix none, what that does is now the BoomX will give you the capacity to output each of the microphones independently. Now the next option is the power option. If you click on that, you have the power A, B, C, and D, which represents each microphone. Now you can switch them on or switch them off from here. So let's go back. Language, I think there's only one language in there, English. So if you don't understand English, sorry, you have to look for something else to use. Then you also have the version. Now, if you click on the version, my version is version 1.08. I haven't checked to see if there's an update to the firmware, but before you update, it's usually good to check the version of the BoomX that you're using before you make an update. At least you would know if you need to update or not. And basically, that's all about setting up the receiver of the BoomX. Now, basically what I have done here is I have set up 2 of the Comica BoomX microphones. I also have the Multitrack here. That's what I'm using as my multi-track recording. Now, like I said earlier, if you want each track recorded, remember your setting has to be on mix none and not mix all from the receiver. And what you do is you connect your A and B, your C and D, depending on how many mics. So if you're using the 4, you'll be using the A, B, C, and D. But right now I'm using just 2 microphones. So I've set mine to A and B, which equals left and right. So here I have a lavalier mic. And I want you to pay attention to the levels of the boom, the level of the Multitrack mic. So I'm going to speak into this and I want you to see the level. Microphone check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now notice how the volume here is actually louder because I'm speaking into 1. Now let's get to the second one. Microphone check 1, 2. Can you notice also here how the volume is going up? So basically what that tells you is that I have separated both. So if I click on record right now on my pod track, it will record them individually. So when I extract the audio from the SD card, I would have 2 separate audio tracks. And that's basically the simplest way to use the Comica BoomX. Like I also said earlier, the receiver has an antenna. You might want to use the antenna just for the sake of having clear audio, except of course you're going to use it in a scenario where there is nothing obstructing each microphone, you know. So just find out what works for you. And basically that's it about the Comica BoomX. As at today that I'm reviewing this, the Comica BoomX-U Qua, which is for 4, goes for $250. I think this is a fantastic interview microphone. It's good for podcasts. I mean, I think it's good for anything audio. I wouldn't say that about singing though, because singing you may need to, use a lot of power and it might distort. But who knows? It all depends on you and how you decide to use it. But that's basically it about the Comica BoomX. Once again, we had the privilege of receiving this from Camera Joint, my one-stop shop to everything cinematography and photography. And I think next time, because I know that on this review I actually didn't talk about the audio quality because I don't want the video to be too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another video where I talk about the audio quality. So I would record it and play it back for you so you sort of, hear what it sounds like. But trust me when I tell you that this is a fantastic product. And on to the next review, it's ciao.